What is up, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards for the weekly sports card market update. That's right. Little news, very little news, mostly charts and graphs today. We'll be working in Market Movers per the usual. The links to that are down below. So if you are curious where I get all these little helpful charts, graphs, and data, you could find that information down below along with coupon code. And then while you're down there, smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Come along for the ride. And leave me a comment, question, concern, whatevs. Other than that, let's get into it. So the first thing, and I am just going to touch on this because I think I'm going to do a separate video completely on this tomorrow for tomorrow morning. Prism first off the line basketball. Dutch auction starting at $4,500. Bottoms out at $2,000. $4,500 is a lot. That's the starting point. We will see where it ends. I have some guesses, but I'm not going to go into a deep dive on this other than to put it on your guys' radar. I believe this will be Monday morning's video. I'm going to do a full deep dive talk about Prism 2021 for the NBA, price points, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, that's coming Tuesday morning, which means regular Prism is not far behind. Boy, you thought the Facebook posts at Target and Walmart, guys lined up down the street to get product, was bad before. This is it. The main event is here. The Royal Rumble. Get your table, ladders, and chairs. Prism has finally come. It's going to be a wild run out there for the retail hunt for this stuff. I will not be looking for it. It is not worth the time and effort for limited boxes. If you are chasing it, may the odds ever be in your favor. So, but we'll do a separate video breaking down Prism's price point and some talk about that tomorrow morning. So look for that tomorrow. I saw this pop up. I have some thoughts, but I don't want it to completely derail this. So moving on. 86 Fleer Jordan. This sold Friday night, PWCC auction, PSA 10 for $456,000. That sounds like a ton of money because it is, but just a couple months ago, this was selling for $750,000. So that's quite a big hit in a very short amount of time. And it's been trending this way. The last few that have sold have been trending down, not up. Slowly dropping by about 10 to 20%, the last few that have sold. And it seems to be re-leveling back out. We will see where the bottom is. This may be the bottom. I don't know. But all the vintage goats that got pumped way up around Christmas time and January and February have seemed to pulled way, way back. LeBron included. We'll talk about him actually next. But yeah, Jordan's prices are, way down as a relative when it's still a $500,000 card or whatever that ends up being. But it is quite the pullback from it thinking about going to $1 million. And then now it's gone the opposite direction. This was $750K. People were speccing on it going to $1 million. And now it's down to $500,000 or less than $500,000 actually. So I think this is the ebbs and flows of this market. This is re-leveling out at a higher floor than what it was at before. So once again, this is kind of following the same pattern we see most of this stuff follow when it gets pumped. It goes to the moon, it comes back from the moon, and then levels back out again at a higher floor than what it was at before. It's kind of almost like clockwork. So the Legends got, I don't want to say pumped, but pumped coming out of the Dallas card show 3 months ago or 2 months ago, whenever it was. And they skyrocketed. There was a ton of different things going on. Dallas happened. Gary Vee was all over him. A lot of social media chatter. And now here we sit. Once again, if you bought in prior to the pump, you're still doing okay. You're still doing pretty good, actually, because this is leveling out at a higher value than what it was before. But it is definitely a pullback, and I do think this is semi-healthy for this stuff to go way up, then come back down again and level back out. So we will see where it goes from here. Same vein, LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 This card got all the way up to 45,000, I think. At the same time the Jordan was peaking, it has fallen way back, but it's actually back on the uptick this week. This had bottomed out at 23,000, right around 23,000. But we actually see the last couple sales just this week. On the 15th, one sold for 23.5. On the 16th, one sold for 26.2. And on the 17th, one sold for 32. So I'm guessing it just got to the point where people were like, that's a little too cheap for LeBron. It's time to jump back on the bandwagon again. So my guess is this is going to float around this 25 to 30K number, with maybe a few $1,000 either way. It'll maybe dip back down again and someone will go, too cheap. And then it'll spike back up a little bit again, so on and so forth, probably until the NBA playoffs start, or someone decides to put a run on LeBron. But so you can see his PSA 10's up 34% on the week. His 8s and 9s are flat to this point. So this is just the 10. It could very well trickle down to the 8s and the 9s. We will see. But as of right now, LeBron Topps Chrome seems to be on the slight upswing again. We will see where it goes from here. Next up, let's transition over to some more modern stuff. MPJ, been playing really well since the All-Star break, and even right before the All-Star break. This is his PSA 10 Silver Prism. His base is up as well. The Prism Silver is up a little bit more, which leads me to believe that the base still has room to grow, because usually silver is the cutting edge when it comes to price movements on Ultra Modern. But his base Prism's up 35% on the week. Started the week at 700, ends the week at 960, up 35% for a $250 swing. And like I said, he's playing really good. The West, to me, is still completely wide open, so they could make a deep playoff run. And I still really believe in MPJ. He's one of the few modern players that I would still actively be looking to buy at the moment, along with the other big ones like Morant, Luka, etc. But I do like him more of as a little bit of a long-term hold, because he could either break out and be a star on Denver, or they could move him for another star in the offseason, like a Beal or someone like that, and then he gets his own team. Either way, it's kind of a win-win. So we'll see where he goes from here, but I do like MPJ even at the slightly inflated prices. Next up, Giannis. We talk about Giannis a lot on the channel, how he doesn't get a lot of love. Well, all of a sudden he is now, at least on his select. His select took quite a jump this week. It was $1,650 to start the week. It ends the week at $2,400 for a 46% jump, $750. And it took off right here on the 16th. This thing had been pretty steady at around $1,1700, $1,675. And then it jumped to $1,900, and then it jumped to $2,400. Low pop count card. There's only 1,100 of them. Select's been getting a lot of love lately, so it kind of makes sense that this has gone up. Also, he's put up absolutely insane numbers, and there's a chance he could get the MVP again. It would be rough 3 in a row, but he has the numbers to back it up. I understand all the hate. He can't win in Milwaukee, etc., etc., etc. But if they figure out a way to make the finals or something like that, anything could happen. And his stuff, in my mind, is still very undervalued given the talent and the numbers that he puts up. I understand the obstacles to an NBA title. I feel like people are just bored with Giannis. And to me, that creates a buying opportunity. Obviously, it seems like someone else has finally seen the light on this and at least jumped in on his select. His other stuff didn't move as much. The select seems to be leading the charge here. So this could be a wombo combo effect of select getting a lot of run lately, and also the Giannis. There's kind of like an underlying buzz there with the way that he's been playing. Next up, we move into football. A little Deshaun Watson action. I'm not really going to get into the specifics, but he's been in the news all week, and not for anything good one way or the other. But his PSA 10 Silver Prism started the week at about 1,300 and is down to about 950. One of two things is going to happen here. This is either extremely overvalued or extremely underpriced. We're not going to know for probably a little bit. We will see what happens and let the system do its thing. and see how everything plays out. But if you like risk, this could be a buying opportunity. If you don't like risk, you're probably already sold. There were definitely some Watson fire sales on the old Facebook groups this week, but he's taken quite the downward plunge, and I'm going to guess this keeps going for a little bit. So if you were looking to buy Watson, I think I would actually hold off another week or so and see how this plays out. I don't think I would dive in right now. Let's transition over to baseball. That was the only football. Football's kind of in a weird, quiet period, even with free agency going on. The market hasn't shifted too much. As I'm recording this, Kenny Golladay just signed with the Giants, so I'll be curious to see if that impacts Daniel Jones' prices at all. But we are in the heart of baseball heat up preseason spring training mode. And the hottest player right now, one of the hottest players, Bobby Witt Jr., been having a hell of a spring. His 2020 Bowman First has had a nice little rise. It started the week at 262. It is up to 375, a 43% increase. So this card is definitely on the move as he just blisters the back half of this week in spring training. We'll see what ends up happening. I don't like chasing spring training stats. I've gone to a lot of spring training games in my life. Used to go to Florida quite a bit to watch Indian spring training as a kid for about 5 or 10 years in a row. And they're not taking it super seriously. Pitchers are working out pitches, etc. So I don't like to put a lot of stock, especially into hitters' numbers when it comes to spring training stuff. But the market's going to market and it's going to overreact to everything. So this is where we are with Witt. I do think he's talented, but we'll see where it ends up. Shohei Ohtani, this is like the second time in 3 weeks he's on the charts. This is his 2018 Topps Chrome with him pitching. This card's up 14%, a nice $20 increase from 145 to 166. And it's one of the higher selling cards in regards to quantity. When I ranked the baseball charts in regards to number of cards sold on PSA 10, Ohtani stuff ranks right up towards the top. I'm super intrigued by him. I wish him all the best. However, I do not want to put a penny into him. He has so many injury concerns and he has yet to prove that he could stay healthy. I truly hope that he can, but not for me. Also on Ohtani, his Topps base, that was his Chrome. It also had a pretty nice week, up 42%, $30 swing. Started the week at 70, ends the week at 100. So the paper actually made a little bit of a bigger jump than the Chrome, but the Chrome is still about $65 more than the paper in regards to overall price. But Ohtani continues to see price jumps leading up to the season starting. Acuna, his Topps Chrome base is the big mover out of the three big guys, Tatis, Soto, and Acuna. Acuna's Chrome continues to play catch up to the others. This is up another 10% this week from 275 to 300. And there was actually some sales above 300. It touched 330 a couple different times and then kind of pulled back down again. There's a ton of different Acuna rookies. This is probably the go-to when it comes to Chrome. And then he has a blue at bat and a bat down in paper. The blue bat down one is the short print that goes for a pretty penny. So this seems to be the one that most people are chasing these days. I think I have one or two of these laying around somewhere. Soto and Tatis basically continue to remain flat. They kind of go up 5% one week and down 5% another week. We'll see where that ends up shaking out at, but these are the big three when it comes to baseball. I did not include Soto and Tatis this week because they basically remained, like I said, fairly flat. They had their big run-ups already. And I'm going to do another just kind of a baseball market talk video, maybe on Tuesday. I'm very curious for everyone's opinion on, will the baseball market follow the same form that football and basketball took? But we'll expand on that further later this week as we move closer and closer to the baseball season actually starting. Next up, Wander Franco. He had a big week 2 weeks ago. Once again, spring training pitching. Cranked a couple home runs. His prices went to the moon, and they are back. This is his Bowman First. This is the paper. It's down 20% on the week, down $25. So his papers had a little bit more of a gradual rundown, but his Chrome has had a weird little ride. So it popped way up due to the very beginning of spring training, him hitting a couple home runs. And then it's been slowly creeping down. And then all of a sudden, right here, it goes from a little over 300, and then one sold yesterday for 240 at Buy It Now with a Buy It Now price of 260 rather, and a best offer accepted of 240. So I don't know if this is a trend that's going to continue on the Chrome, or if that was just a one-off sale. So, because that's quite the steep drop off there. So I'll be curious to see where the next couple go. Now, the paper has been doing a more slow trend down. So we'll have to see where this line goes from here. Does this continue? I doubt it stays at this price. My guess is that the next couple sell right below 300, but we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on this. Regardless, the paper's trending down. And prior to this one sale, you can see the prices were slowly starting to trend down. We have a 315, a couple 330s, a 320. Then it drops down to 305, 305, 315, 315. And then it goes way down to 260. So I believe it's been released that Franco's officially heading down to the minors to at least start the season. If he dips in prices, it would 100% be worth chasing some of his stuff. If he goes down, I think he only has to stay down for like 2 or 3 weeks before he doesn't accrue a service time year, and then they can call him up. If his prices dip from now till, mid-April, I would definitely buy, especially this is a perfect star stock play. If his stuff dips at all, buy it. And then the second the news breaks that he's getting called up, his prices are going to jump. And I don't know if they're going to plan on calling him up immediately as soon as the service time window passes, but it would be worth doing some research into that to see if that's the case. Because if he goes down to the minors, I can tell you right now, his prices will go down a little bit. The market's that finicky. They'll at least dip because he's not front of mind. But the second he gets the call up, I guarantee his prices will spike. So could be a nice little star stock flip there, depending on what the prices do. People might not sell, they might hold. But it's something to worth keep an eye on. And also, in the real world, you could very easily make that play. If his stuff dips a little bit over the next couple weeks, dive in, pick some stuff up, and then sell it when he gets called up, or hold it if you like him as a long-term hold. He does seem very talented, so we'll see what happens. But that's all I got for you guys this week. A little bit of each sport, a little bit of news at the top. Tomorrow morning, we will do a video specifically on Prism, the pre-order price, the Dutch auction, kind of talk about Prism basketball as a whole, my thoughts on the matter. I would like to do a baseball loosey-goosey market talk video at some point in time this week. Maybe we'll shoot for that on Tuesday. We will see what happens. Beyond that, nothing specific planned. I have been trying to hop on and do live streams a little bit more often for the live stream Q&As. I would like to try to do one a week, but I'm not going to commit to anything, and I won't commit to a specific time or day at this point. So they will continue to be kind of random. I've been trying to vary them as much as possible. I did one in the early afternoon on Friday. I've done them in the late evening, like around 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time. I've done them in the earlier afternoon, or like earlier evening rather, like around 4 or 5 o'clock. I've done them in the super early afternoon, like around just after lunchtime, just so different people can hop in. I understand not everyone's in the same time zone, same work situation. So I've been trying to vary the live streams as much as possible. I know that could be a little bit weird if you're looking to catch one, but it just gives more people the opportunity to potentially catch a live stream. So that's the plans for this week. And then once again, if something newsy happens, I'll crank a video out for it as quick as I can. Enjoy the rest of your brackets for Sunday and Monday, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.